What is up, y'all? C-Bell back here. Today, we're going to be reacting to Bleacher Report's top 5 biggest overpays of the offseason to this point. So, without saying any more, let's get to it. So, they're starting this off with Patrick Williams, so I'm assuming he's going to be on this list at some point. Number 5, they have Klay Thompson. I'm not even going to read anything. I'm just going to say right now, I already disagree. Listen, I know Klay's not the same player he was back when they were winning all those championships, going against the Cavs and everything. He's not the same guy. But they're paying him less than $20 million. I think it's like $17 million a year for a guy that just averaged 18 points on like 39% shooting from three. Like, they don't need Klay to be a shot creator. They needed somebody who's going to sit there, catch threes, and hit them consistently. Because for anybody that was watching the playoffs, like Luka and Kyrie, they're creating open looks for PJ Washington and Derrick Jones Jr., and the games were decided on if those guys were going to make their shots or not. So with Klay, they immediately addressed that problem. He's going to hit those shots 40% of the time. And it also just gives them another guy that's out there that's, okay, the clock's running down, the ball is in his hands, we're not disappointed in what's going to happen. If he chunks up a shot, there's a chance it's going. It's not Derrick Jones Jr. trying to go create a shot for himself. So I don't think this is an overpay, especially whenever this is a smaller contract than what the Warriors were offering him. So I don't hate it the way that they do. Let's see what they're saying. Yeah, they're talking about injuries, done irreparable damage to his defense, but they also nearly silenced the volume of his inside the arc offense. He's not going to be needing to do inside the arc offense with the Mavericks. He's going to be sitting on the 3-point line, maybe like one dribble pull-ups. And for his defense, yeah, it hindered his defense a little bit, but he's still a above average defender, I would say. And he has Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford backing him up, Najee Marshall. Like, he doesn't have to be great at defense. He just has to be competent, and I think he's going to be competent. Emmanuel Quickly. Wow. This one surprises me. I guess what they could say is, why are you paying him this much money for a team that's not going to be contending probably during those 5 years? I guess you could say that. But he's still a pretty young guard that puts up the numbers to deserve this type of contract. I mean, I think he averaged around like 18 points this past season. And with the Raptors, I know his assist numbers went up than what they were on the Knicks. So let's see what they're saying. I guess because he's 25, he might not progress as much. I'm not sure. Amount of money who has spent most of his first 4 NBA seasons as a high-end reserve and not a primary playmaker. Well, yeah, he was behind Jalen Brunson for 2 of those 4 years. So I don't know what else you want him to do, but like, look right here. As a starting lead guard in Toronto, after the trade, he averaged 19 points a game, 7 assists, and just 2 turnovers, while shooting dang near 40% from 3. Yeah, they were a bottom of the East team, but they're young, man. They're young. What else what else do you want from these guys? Like, their starting lineup was, oh wow. Emmanuel Quickly. Who was their 2? Was RJ playing? RJ was definitely their 3, right? We're gonna say Gary Trent. I don't know if he was starting out. Gary Trent, RJ, Scotty Barnes, and who was Jakob Poeltl their starting 5? Maybe. See, like, that's what else are you expecting from that team? Well, I understand what they're saying about it being it might be a little bit of an overpay, but it's not a bad contract. I don't think he's going to be a great player for them moving forward. Pascal. Wow. You think Pascal Siakam's an overpay? In what sense? 4 years. So he's getting around like 38 $37 million a year, I would say, right? That sounds about right. It's less than 40. No, it's dear God. It's probably like 45. I was completely doing head math wrong. But regardless, they went all in to trade for this guy. And if they didn't give him a good contract, there was a good chance he wasn't going to return. Why? It's not like they can attract free agents to Indiana. And he was the main reason for the success in the postseason this year. I'm intrigued to see what they're going to say. Um, this isn't the most Indiana could have offered him. While the Pacers gave Siakam a 4-year max, they could have taken things farther with a 5-year, two. Yeah, it's hard to hate this deal. In other words, especially since cap space isn't quite as critical in a non-destination market. Like, yep, like they're not getting stars to go to Indiana. Um, Siakam is a good scorer and capable secondary playmaker, but he isn't a standout in either category. He shoots a shade below average from three, and doesn't take enough long distance attempts to truly space the floor. He is solid and versatile defender, but he's not a spectacular. Once again, this is kind of like the Klay Thompson thing to me, but I think he's a better defender than Klay Thompson. Like, he's well above average as a defender. And if his guy's getting past him, he has Miles Turner, one of the best shot blockers in the league, backing him up. So I'm not worried about whatever they're saying. He's not a spectacular defender. He's a pretty good defender. And he might not be the best three-point shooter, but it's still respectable to the point to where teams do respect him out there. And if they don't, then he's getting wide open shots, which he has shown he can hit those. So I'm not worried about the spacing with him. This is interesting. I don't like what they're saying here. The question the Pacers face is whether they can contend with him as their second option at this price point. They better hope that's possible. I mean, they were just in the conference finals. I mean, they got swept, but they got there, and they're a young team. So I'm assuming they might make a couple moves around the edge to kind of try and boost the roster up a little bit, but it's probably going to be relatively the same. And I don't think they're not contenders. They're definitely not contenders. But they're going to continue getting better, and Pascal Siakam is a great veteran to have on this team for him. As we saw in the playoffs, he did not miss in the mid-range. OG Anunoby to the Knicks. This hurts. See, okay, I'm a quick rant. Quick rant as a Knicks fan. After he signed his contract, all these reports started coming out talking about he could have got max offers from these other teams, but he wanted to stay with the Knicks and help them contend and take a little bit of a pay cut. I'm like, bro, you're getting paid more than anybody else on the team. You could have taken a little bit more so we could have kept Isaiah Hartenstein, man. But do I think it's an overpay? Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely an overpay. But he forced us in that situation. Like, we traded 2 young players that we had on our team for years to go and get him. We can't let him walk like 3-4 months later for nothing. Especially to Philadelphia. We're not letting OG Anunoby walk to Philadelphia with nothing in return. So even though this is definitely an overpay, it's not one that I hate. Is it my favorite thing in the world? No. But if we would have lost OG Anunoby, that would have made us exponentially worse, especially if we would have also lost Isaiah Hartenstein. Yep, they're saying impact on the Knicks was instant and enormous. It was also relatively short-lived, as multiple bouts with the injury bug cost multiple stints on the sideline. Yeah, that's another big problem I have with this contract, along with most Knicks fans, is we need the guy to stay healthy. It hasn't come out if there's an injury clause in here or anything, but oh wow, I hope so. He's topped 50 games in just one of his last 4 seasons. He figured to be a tricky player to price in free agency. New York's decision makers disagreed with that assessment and handed over this mammoth agreement, which features both a player option and a trade kicker during the exclusive one. Okay, interesting. But also, I'm trying to defend this so hard in my head. when there was something a stat or something about when him and Jalen both played together, they won like 93% of those games or something like that. You can't argue like if that's gonna be the case, man. We about to be like a 75 win team next year. So don't play with the boys. Don't play with the boys. We do need him to stay healthy. Oh, also about staying healthy, the Knicks just brought in I think it was like the Mavericks head of I don't know what they're calling, but like the head of the medical staff, and he from what I've read, he's known to be like one of the better ones in the league. So hopefully that will help not only with OG Anunoby, but with like Julius Randle and Mitchell Robinson, some guys like that, kind of help them stay on the court. Here we go, Patrick Williams, 5 years, 90 million. That's just under $20 million a year, probably about 18 or so. Um, yeah, I understand, but also at the same time, these are the kind of contracts that guys like this are going to be getting from here on out with the way that the cap is growing every year. It seems like an overpay. It definitely is from what he's shown, but he's an efficient 3-point shooter. And he's a good defender. Does he? I don't know if. I mean, clearly he's going to be part of their long-term plans. Either that, or they're going to try and keep him until the trade deadline. Maybe try and package him up if they can't trade Zach LaVine or Vucevic or something like that. But oh wow, yeah. Let's see what they're saying. Uh, when he was getting compared to Kawhi Leonard, yeah, that doesn't seem like it's going to be happening. At least not at this rate. Williams shoots a three at a solid clip, career 41%. Yeah, he's a very efficient 3-point shooter, but he doesn't take a lot of attempts, 2.8 attempts per game. Um, Chicago can't be thinking all of the above is worth an annual 18 million salary, right? This has to be about him growing into something greater, doesn't it? But what's the basis for that belief beyond his age? What developmental milestones has he hit to convince these decision makers he's on the right track? What about the organization's developmental program makes people believe this team will bring out his best? That's real. Chicago is not great for developing young guys. I mean, Kobe White, yeah, but I think he's an outlier in like the last 10 years. I can't really think of any other young player that they've really had that's just blossomed into a great player. I don't know what to say, man. Patrick Williams, I mean, this is kind of the kind of thing that we expect from the Bulls. Like he's not a bad player. And I don't think this is a massive overpay, but they definitely are trying to bet on his development, and I don't see it. Through his 4 years in the league, his numbers have been like exactly the same every single season pretty much. So I'm not I don't love it if I'm being honest, but I don't hate it. I would say the only one that I agree, this is definitely an overpay. Um, I don't agree with Pascal Siakam. I can see this a little bit, but I don't think it's bad. And I completely disagree with Clay Thompson. Completely disagree. And guys, thank you guys very much for watching. If you got this far, don't forget to like and subscribe. My Twitter and my podcast will be down in the description. I'm active on the Twitter like all the time. And as always, join in the conversation. Thank you guys very much for watching. Peace.